We have Elfnote, Cool Tunes, and even some Blue Eyes White Dragon for you today. Make sure you guys smash the link crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more OzCon. So while we've been busy dealing with the 300th, the OCG has suddenly decided that Elfnote is probably one of the most insane decks that the OCG has just had in a while. And I was a little bit curious about this, but every tier list that we have seen this week has kind of said the same thing, that the deck on your screen here, or at least a variation of this, has turned out to be, you know, one of the massive powerhouses going forward. And as you can see, I mean, you have a very small Fiendsmith package built into the deck because, you know, Armades being a pivotal point to allow you to branch into it is really funny, honestly. I actually really appreciate the innovation with that. But this is what you're dealing with in the modern era times here, people. You know, if you've not picked up your Elfnote stuff, judging by how the OCG is going about things right now, it's about to get a whole lot more interesting, to say the least. Now, as we pivot on over here, we also have Cool Tunes, and as most of you guys know, Cool Tunes has been kind of trying to figure out its life. You know, it's been trying to figure out, oh, hey, you know, how can we kind of evolve to kind of keep up with the times? Well, Harmonium Fleur-de-Lis, or the Harmonium being, you know, a card that you get to build into this deck, is very, very strong. Every synchro deck under the sun wants to be able to use this card to be able to, you know, kind of streamline things, and obviously it's been doing pretty well. And obviously, you know, you have access to the Churia Rose Whip, you have the Manadia reframing. You just have a lot of tools that a deck like this really shouldn't have. And it's crazy to see how much the meta has shifted, you know, post Blazing Dominion in the OCG, where suddenly, you know, two decks have just really started roaring on through here. So I'll give it up. It's definitely innovative. Blue Eyes White Dragon. So this was kind of an interesting, just offbeat challenger that came kind of out of nowhere. Now I do see, guess what? This deck gets to play the new Dominus card. Eh, boy, well, I mean, compulsory evacuation device is being able to force the opponent to remove a monster is pretty good. But I mean, you're also going to notice they've basically cut Dominus Impulse from the equation. I don't know if you just don't really have the room to play the Dominus, or it's just not really worth it in the long run. I can understand going with either or on the argument side of things here, but also you do see the Harmonium coming in here and being an absolute clutch monster for this deck. Obviously, you know, this deck's about to undergo another evolution when we get the next round of stuff, but I think that's okay. Blue Eyes, as long as it can keep up with being a standard competitor, I mean, it's doing just fine at this rate. So I thought that was kind of cool to see. Next up, Sky Striker. Now, this Sky Striker list goes a little bit beyond what we're, you know, kind of used to seeing. This list is playing Spooky Dogwoods to gain life. I don't know what relevancy that is. I guess it's going to force the opponent to not want to commit as much, because then, you know, they're going to have to really climb up the tree to try to end the game, or it's just a situation where it's like, maybe taking a little bit of a step back here, you know. Maybe it's not so great to want to try to push through all of that built up life. I also see we're playing Threatening Roar in here. I mean, I guess, right? Like, you've got a thrust to be able to go into, so maybe you're thrusting into that kind of like as a lifeline. I don't know why they're choosing to play thrust. I just thought that that was one of the little hilarious tech choices that a list like this is trying to throw out. So interesting. Next up here we have some Vanquish Soul goodness, and this Vanquish Soul list is not playing around. They are playing triple Harmonium in the main deck, first of all, but they're going even further beyond the no fun allowed. They're packing not one, not two, but 3 Illusion Gates in the side deck. I don't know who really ruined this Duelist day, but they have innovated so hard with this deck that they are so far on the opposite side of the counter pick that it's actually kind of crazy to think about here that, you know, this is what they're going with. No case of one case of Canine, and 1 Chaotic Elements in the main deck, 1 Joe Cool, 1 Lantern, 1 Noroi. You know, OCG has Izuna semi-limited, so, you know, they don't really get to extend out the package quite like at the volume that I feel like this list would prefer to be bringing it out at, but what a hilarious list, to say the least. All right. Next up, we have some Doomsy. Now, Doomsy's been kind of picking up some steam recently in the OCG. You know, much like Elfnote figuring out, oh, hey, you know, we're kind of like the best deck in the room now. You've got other people that have also figured out, oh, hey, you know, we can kind of start to play things like Doomsy and actually have success with it. Now, I do miss the Broken Bamboo Sword list. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought that was really cool. But this list is going with the triple pendulum scale in the deck. So, I mean, your goal is to get to the big Jupiter as fast as possible and get that trap card slapped underneath it so that your opponent's going to have to deal with basically a walking, talking Thunder Dragon Colossus. It's crazy because the 2019 meta was just a walking, talking Colossus. Here we are in 2026, where, you know, history's repeating itself, where, you know, a giant walking, talking Colossus monster is kind of getting the job done in reverse. So, I mean, innovation for sure, to say the least. Next up, we have more Elfnotes for you. Now, I said I was going to jam this, you know, at you and showcase all of these different variants and things you can go, but also, I mean, a couple things are still going to be in common with these lists. You know, Fiendsmith is still going to have some sort of relevancy in here because being able to pivot Armades into a Wave King Kaiser to protect your board is always going to be very, very important. All right, you just kind of have to accept the fact that if you're playing this deck, that you need to have some sort of protection on the end board. And quite honestly, it's coming up a lot. I'm not surprised, but it's there also. Pay attention to the Secret Village of the Spellcasters down there. We know that Secret Village is a toxic card, but guess what, everybody? We have a deck that can actually access it. Oh boy! This is why we love Yu-Gi-Oh, man. Being able to throw out broken field spells at the opponent just wins some free games. Another Elfnote variant. Now this one, still playing the Fiendsmith package as you should be, you know, being able to essentially build up that board and go. But this list actually is bringing in the Psy-Frame stuff, you know. And I don't really blame them for this, you know, being able to Psy-Frame and kind of keep the bullet train going usually ends up being a pretty good thing. You just want consistency. So, you know, if you pendulum scale and attempt to start her through the pendulum, you know, you're going to have that Omega kind of like the little follow-up. You know, it all depends on where your opponent thinks is the best place to kind of choke hold you out, and that's usually what ends up happening. But like I said, same things are going to be common across these lists. Harmonium and Fiendsmith are going to be amazing anchor points to be able to kind of keep the dream going here, and it just shows the level of innovation that, you know, this deck really has going for it. I wonder if the TCG, you know, we don't have Baron, but we'll see how this goes. Next up, we have some yummy Tri-Brigade. Oh, this looks very familiar. The only difference here is the OCG still has Herald as an end-board piece to kind of set up, but I mean, their yummy package is a little bit more damaged than ours is. They're also side decking the Psy-Frame stuff, which once again, if you've been paying attention, you know, the payoff on these Psy-Frame cards, man, is really, really good. You know, you've got a lot of a build-up to, you know, a decent payoff at the end. We're also playing One Fallen and Virtuous in the main deck. I'm surprised that they even had the room to fit that in, but I mean, they did get it down to 40 cards. I got to give them a little bit of credit in terms of the innovation department. You know, if you were able to get this right amount of things settled into the list and, you know, it looks like it's going to flow, well, it's probably going to work out. So I do like this. I'm glad to see that the OCG is innovating in a more positive direction with this deck, and they're actually kind of giving it a shot, honestly. Next up, we got the Clown Crew. All right. This deck, I'm glad to see that, you know, you're doing some crazy stuff. There's also Triple Dominus built in. You've also got the Shifter built into this as well, man. You obviously, the Corvature and the Pastiel stuff is kind of like the base point to get this going. But, like, this is it, people. This is... When clowns come down here in the TCG, I actually cannot wait to see who's going to try to innovate with this deck, because it seems really, really fun, to say the least. So we'll see where this goes. But please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.